Hello, thank you for joining me today. This is Artful with Michelle, and today we're going to be painting a new spring gnome. So this little guy is holding a plant pot, and we're going to have, my vision is either some hydrangea or some lilacs for that. So we'll see how that develops. I am going to be using several brushes today. Oh, they're golden taklon, except for this one. So we have a 1-inch flat, a 1/2 inch flat, a number 6 round. So this is the size of the round. Each company has a different size associated, a number associated with the brushes. So this is what it looks like. And then I have this kid's scruffy sort of a bristle brush that's kind of fluffy and worn out. And I like that for when I'm pouncing, which we might do on the flowers. So this little gnome is already drawn, but it's very simple to draw. You start with an oval for the nose, you make your mustache, come up and do your hat. I drew a very simple plant pot, a little foot sticking out on each side and a little hand. So we're gonna just go ahead and get started on this. I see here there's a, okay. All right, so let's go ahead and start. We are going to be using student grade liquid acrylics today, and if I add anything else, I will let you know in the course of the video. But right now I have titanium white, green oxide, chrome yellow, chrome orange, phthalo blue, violet, deep red, and burnt umber, and I need to add some black as well. All right, so get a little bit of black on that. Okay. So we're going to start with the background. I want this gnome to be super bright and cheery for spring. So I'm just going to take my large flat brush, wet it in the water, and I'm going to make a blue sky background. Very, very simple. I'm going to take some phthalo blue and some white, and I'm going to mix it. I'm going to tip this a little bit. And I'm just going to get that brushed on. I'm going to get around my little gnome. I want this to be a little bit light in the background. So when I do my backgrounds, it's kind of like a swishing motion, like the letter X over and over itself. And I'm just going to quickly go around everything. I'm going to bring some darker color at the bottom, so I'm going to stop there on the blue. Wet your brush every now and then and touch it on your paper towel if you feel like your paint isn't getting down into what I call the valleys of the canvas. Canvas is very textured, and if you don't use enough paint and your brush isn't moist enough, you're not going to get it down into those, the lower areas of your canvas. You might want to use the smaller brush to get in those areas also. Use whatever brush feels comfortable for you. And I'm adding some white as I come down, and I'm just kind of letting that end there. I'm going to rinse the brush. I want to make a pretty dark green for the bottom. So before I do that, I'm going to add some white here. I want to just be able to transition from the sky down into the ground. So I'm just making it lighter here where the two are going to meet. And for the bottom, I'm going to take some green oxide and some burnt umber, and I'm going to make a darker mossy green. You could add, I'm going to add just a smidge of black too, just to see. And I'm going to put that down here. I'm going to switch to the smaller 1/2 inch brush for now. And I'm just going to get that around his little foot here. And I'm just going to brush that up into that wet white and have kind of a soft transition there. We're going to put a lot of blades of grass in there so we don't have to have like perfect coverage or anything. It's just a base coat, like a primer coat in a way. Alright, let's get that blended in. Okay. I'm letting it get into my plant pot a little bit. Okay, so we're going to do this side the same way. Oh, I see some area here that doesn't have paint. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing over here. Some green, some burnt umber, and a tiny bit of black. Grab a little green. Now I'm going to wipe my brush, grab a little bit of white, and get some white up in here where the green and the blue are going to kind of blend into each other. And again, we're going to have lots of blades of grass. I love to paint grass. Okay, that side's a little bit darker, so I just want to make this one a little bit darker. And then I'm going to let that dry and we'll move on to another area. Alright. So I'm going to go ahead and just paint the beard and mustache quickly for you. I'm thinking today maybe I'll use more brown. So I'm going to take some brown and a little bit of black and just a tiny bit of white. And I'm going to base coat the beard today in this darker color. I usually do grays, but today I thought I'd do some brown. Alright, so this is a mix of brown, burnt umber, and black. And this is again just a base. We're going to come in and put a lot of brush strokes, but today we're going to have some flowers in this pot. So we're not going to be doing quite as many hairs in the beard because I want the flowers to show really well. Okay, that's good. So now for the mustache, I just want to make it a little bit lighter, which will make it easier when you come in to do your shading and everything. If it's just a little bit lighter, I think it will help you. So you can make it a little fluffy there. We're going to go around the nose. I do want this just a little bit lighter at the bottom of the mustache, just so you can see later where you're going, where the beard is and where the mustache is. I'm going to go ahead and get this done. Super cute. I have quite a few gnome videos and they're very popular, so I thought you might enjoy a new spring and summer season gnome. Okay, so there we go. I'm going to grab a little bit of burnt umber and get it closer to the nose here. Okay. I'm going to paint his shoes black. And we'll come in and just rub a little highlight on that later. Turn this sideways to do this. And we'll get this foot done. I might change the shape a little bit. They don't have to be exactly the same. That's what's kind of fun about whimsy, is that you can just kind of play with it and relax and have fun. It doesn't have to be perfect. All right, there we go. So now that one's sticking way out. So then if that happens and you want to make the other one bigger, just come in like this and make the other one a little bit bigger. And that's good. Okay, I'm going to rinse that brush out. Move this a little bit for you. Okay, so for the plant pot, I want to create kind of a rusty color, and you can do that. You can either use like a red oxide or a Venetian red, a rusty color if you have it. But if you don't, take some orange and a little burnt umber, and kind of get that mixed up and see if you can get yourself a color that you like. You can take a little bit more. You can even add a little black if you'd like. So I kind of like that color right there. And I'm just going to paint my plant pot. And I'm going to add some brown to it as I paint it on. I like to do a lot of brush mixing on my canvas. I'm okay with changes and variations in my color. I actually enjoy that. I'm going to come down. So again, this is just a base color. We're going to come in and add our highlights, and that's the fun part for me. So I try to get the base coating done pretty quickly for you. All right. Okay, so I'm making the brush strokes nice and smooth. Okay, so when we do the the rim of the plant pot, I'm going to do the same thing, the same colors, but I'm going to add a little bit of white. So I'm going to take my orange, add some brown, get a nice rusty kind of color that I like, and I'm going to grab a little bit of white and make it lighter. And then I'm going to paint. I'm going to turn it upside down for this part. At least for this part of the rim, then I'll flip it around again. Go around his little hand. So you want to move the brush in the shape of the pot to help give it shape. Your brush strokes will definitely help give it shape. So now I'm going to come around here and do the top of the rim. Okay. All right. So what I think we can do with this is we can actually use this for our skin color today. So I'm going to just take my brush and wipe it on my plate like this, and I'm going to grab a little bit of white, and I'm going to make this color even lighter. So again, it's a mix of my orange, my brown, and some white. I like that a lot, and that's what I'm going to use for his skin tone. I'm going to add a little bit more white. You might want to switch to your round brush. Use the brush that you're most comfortable with for the area that you're in. Okay, I'm going to do this side, and then I'll flip it over. Okay. I'm going to turn it upside down. There we go, and I'm just going to grab the round brush to finish this. It's okay for you to have variations even in the skin. I like it a little bit darker at the bottom of the hand. And I'm actually going to take a little white and make the hand lighter where it touches the plant pot. And here's the top of the hand. We're going to have a little bit of white. And the top of the thumb. And then with that skin mix, the darker mix, I want to shade. Let me grab some more of that color. I want to shade up behind the hand at the base of the thumb with a little darker color. Alright, we'll do the same here. I'm going to shade behind the hand on the bottom of the thumb with a little darker color. And the bottom of the hand. So I just keep using those colors. Alright, let's turn him around. Alright, so I'm going to take a little white and I'm just going to highlight some more over here. And I do that while it's wet so that we can blend. And at the very tip of the thumb, I want to put a little bit too. It's not going to show much depending how you do your flowers, but it'll be in there. I would rather you paint it than not paint it and feel like you have to put a flower there, so I like to get it under anyway. And then when you make your flowers, if you go over a hand a little, that's cool. Alright, so I'm going to do the top of the thumb a little bit. You'll notice I wipe my brush a lot on my paper towel. I don't use a lot of paint on my brush. You need enough to get down into the fibers, but I don't like to put too much on my brush. Okay, so that's looking good. Do try to cover up your pencil lines if you've drawn that. There you go. Okay, so I'm going to wait on the nose because when we work on the mustache we might get some hairs in the nose, so I'm going to wait till the end to do that. Okay, I'm going to go have a little fun and I'm going to make this gnome's hat lime green. I'm going to use green and yellow to do the hat, and then we'll have a lot of that color in the flowers also, and it will balance it nicely. Alright, so I'm going to take my 1/2 inch flat again, rinse it out in my water. Let me see, I need to rinse that out a little bit better. Okay, so I want to make a lime green, and I do that by taking my yellow, my chrome yellow, and a little bit of green oxide, and I mix it up. Mostly yellow, the green will take over. It's pretty strong against the yellow, and then a little bit of white. And let's see. Yes, that's exactly what I'm going for. So I'm going to go ahead and get this hat base coated in this color. It's not a super strong pigmented color combination there, so on your edges, like where it touches the blue, we might have to go in and add some color there. But we'll get some highlighting in this too. I just want this extremely vibrant. So while my brush is in that direction, because you know I'm going to flip it upside down, right, to do the other side. So I'm going to flip it around so I can come at this from the other side and mix up some more. There we go. Okay. Okay. All right. There we go. So while that's wet, I'm going to grab just a little green oxide, and I'm going to put it at the bottom of the hat, just above the mustache and nose. And then I'm just going to very, very lightly Just kind of blend that into the yellow. Put a little here. Okay, so that's a really, really light feather touch that I'm using. Grab a little bit more right here. Okay, let's flip that around to see how we're looking. All right, yay. Okay, I want to get some shading under this rim on the plant pot. So I'm going to grab some burnt umber and just a little bit of orange. And I'm going to place it here under the rim. And I'm just going to just kind of feather, dry brush it down into the pot a little bit. Okay. So that's going to bring a shadow under the rim to help bring the rim forward. Okay. I'm just going to rub a little bit here and there on the sides to help send them backwards a little. Oops, it's okay, we're going to put some grass there. Now for this, I want to make the rim of the plant pot a little bit lighter where it touches the pot. So for me, I'm going to turn that upside down so I can come at it from here. And I'm going to take some of that plant pot color, which was the orange. For the rim it was orange, white, and a little bit of burnt umber. And I want to add even more white. And I want to place it here. And I'm just going to brush it on up. And that helps bring the rim out from the base. Okay. While we're here, we can take the same darker color and put it in front of the hands on the rim, which will help bring the hands forward. So I'm putting a little bit of the brown and orange mix on the side of my brush, and I'm just kind of patting it in there. And then I'm just going to soften it on out to the rim. There we go. Okay. So what that did was help bring the rim forward and set the plant pot kind of back a little bit. All right. Let's see. The hat is still a little wet. I want to start adding some highlight to it also. Okay, the next thing to do then is the beard. Now I'm going to be painting some flowers in here. So let me see if I have a white pencil here. You should be able to see that. So my vision is to have some flowers in here and just have a little bit of fun with that. So I'm going to draw some circles, just some loose circles where I kind of think I want the flowers to go. Okay, and then we'll work them. So what I want to do is lay some hairs in, because the flowers are in front of him. Okay, he's holding the plant pot, the flowers in front, so we want to pop them forward. So I want to put the hairs onto the beard before we go and put our flowers in. So I'm going to take my number 6 round, wet it. Now, I like to work my beards and mustaches usually mostly upside down. No surprise there, right? But I'm going to try to do this one right side up for you. I just always want to make sure you get a good angle so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to take some burnt umber and some white, and I'm going to make a very light brown. And I'm just going to come in and make my little hairs a little bit more white. So I'm putting some hairs in there that will fall behind the flowers. So it's okay right now if you go into your flower circles a little. They're just there, you know, as a reference point, and I'm going to let some of the hairs come over the rim of that plant pot. And so in the middle, my hairs are going to be more straight, and then on each side, they're going to flare outward the way I would imagine the beard would move. So I'm adding light brown, which is a mix of my burnt umber and white, and then I'm coming back in with little bits of straight white on the dirty brush, and I'm getting some highlights in right now. I want to leave it darker under the mustache. We might have to come in and add some more dark color there in a bit, but let's see. For now, let's just get our little beard hair in there. Add a little bit more white here. I love painting gnome beards, love it. Okay, so let's get, depending how hairy you want this little guy, that's up to you. If you want lots of long hairs sticking out, but my vision is that the pot is in front of him, so I want most of the hair to be in the back. All right, so the next thing is going to be the mustache. And we want it to be lighter because we want it to be like on top of the beard and sticking out more. So I'm going to turn this different ways, which make the brush strokes easier. Okay, so I like to start at the end, and then because as I get closer to the nose, the hairs lay on top of one another. So I'm going to grab some white and some burnt umber and make a light brown, and I'm going to start making my brush strokes here, and I go and grab just a little white sometimes, and I like to leave some of the background color showing, because if you cover it all up you lose a lot of dimension there. Okay, so I'm going to come back to that. I'm going to do the other side now. I'm going to grab a little bit of brown and white, come out on the end. You can have as much fun with this as you want. You know, make him as hairy as you'd like, whatever. I kind of like to have a little fun with the gnome hair and just let it go wild because it's fun. Okay, so that's a good beginning right there. Okay, I know it looks a little odd right now until we get our flowers in. So I'm going to rinse that brush and take a look. Okay, I definitely want to make sure we have some dark color under the mustache. So I'm going to go back and just rub a little bit of burnt umber right under there. And just kind of let it soften back out onto the beard. It got a little bit light there. Let's get that back in there. You could add a little black here. I'm going to add a tiny bit of black just so you can see. I like that a lot. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to add a little bit of black to that burnt umber, just a touch, because you know it's a very strong color, and you want to add it in little bits. Okay, so I like that a lot. And create a few more hairs on the beard. Okay. So while that's setting up, let's go back and look at our hat and get our 1/2 inch flat and go ahead and make some highlights. So I want it to be lighter over here just because it kind of happened while I was painting it. So I'm going to take some of that yellow, green, and white, a lot more white, and make an even lighter color. So I'm going to grab more white. And over here I'm just going to start to pat in some highlight. There. And the highlight is going to fade a lot as it dries. Okay. And then we can just take some straight green, green oxide and make the other side a little darker and come in and make some creases in the hat. This is where I want to go and meet any areas that maybe didn't have enough paint on them. Make this one darker down the right and lighter down the left also. A little bit more white. Add all of these colors in little bits because you can always add, but it's certainly not as easy to take away. All right, I want to add some blue right there. I'm not liking that. So I put some blue there, and now I'm going back with some white. There's a little bit of green in my brush, but that's okay. I just had some canvas showing there. I'm going to brush that out. I kind of like that. So I'm going to leave that like that and brush that yellow onto the sky. And give it kind of a sunny glow over there. Okay. And put a little bit over here too. Okay. So we have a little bit of sunshine up in there. All right. Let's get, we can base coat that nose, I think. I'm going to take a little burnt umber and I'm going to put it where the mustache touches the nose. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm just going to put some burnt umber in here. Okay, and let's get the nose base coated so that will dry. Okay, he's so cute already. Okay, let's get nose color. So what I used for the skin is kind of dried up, so I'm going to take some orange, some burnt umber, some white, a little bit more on burnt umber, a bit more white, and I'm just going to keep going till I get a skin tone that I'm happy with. That's close to the hands. Yeah, that's good. So we're going to go ahead and get that nose painted, and I'm going to make it lighter at the top by adding more white. And I'm going to make it darker toward the bottom, but I am going to flip it around so I can come at it from here. And take more of that color, and it's a little bit darker here. Okay, let's turn it back around, and I'm going to lighten the top of the nose again with more white. I'm going to let that blend down. Okay, so I'm happy with that. While we have this in our brush, let's go back to the hand and take a little bit of white. Now we do have a little bit of that peachy color in the brush. Just make the top of the thumb lighter and the top of the hand in front of the thumb a little bit lighter, and down along the pot. Perfect. And then a little bit more over here. We're going to put some white at the top of the thumb. Again, that was a little bit of kind of a lot of paint, so I wiped some of it off. All right, grab a little bit more white. Just kind of let it blend down. And I'm going to make the hands a little bit lighter where they touch the pot. The white, when you put it on very lightly like this, it tends to kind of disappear. Not disappear, but you know how it just kind of fades into your background. Super cute. Let's get this one a little bit right here. And then I'm just going to kind of dry brush it there. Okay. Okay, I like him so far. All right, let's go ahead and work on the flowers. So I think I'm going to go ahead and keep with this number 6 round. Now, I'm planning on using a lot of violet in these flowers. If you don't have any violet, I really also enjoy mixing my own. So here's some violet, which tends to be very, very transparent. So you could use that, but you can also take your phthalo blue and your deep red and mix it together. And you can't really see the shade of it till you add a little white. Now that's a beautiful violet, but I'd like to add a little bit more red. So I'm going to go ahead and just mix. But I wanted to show you, if you have violet, you can use it. It tends to be a lot more transparent, where if you mix your own, it's a little bit more opaque. And so what I'm going to do right now is just kind of base in. I'm going to add a little bit more red. I want this to show for you on the video. So basically, I'm just getting a very loose, not really circular, but, you know, kind of like a bumpy circle. And let me add a little bit of white just to brighten it so you can see it a little bit better. So I just want them very loose. Put as many or as few as you want. And as you know, usually when I paint with you, I haven't already painted it. I like to let it evolve in front of you, so I'm just as surprised as you are as I go through these steps. Okay, let's grab some more, maybe put another one over here. Okay. Alright, I do want some beard showing, so I'm going to leave that alone. Rinse my brush. While that's drying, let's go ahead and, let's see, let's work on his mustache a little bit more. So I really want to brighten that up and get that out there on top. So I'm going to grab white with just the tiniest bit of brown in my brush. Okay, so let's go ahead and have some fun with this mustache. I'm going to do, bear with me a second, I'm going to do a little zoom so you can get in there and see that mustache. Okay. Alright, so let's go ahead and take this brighter color and come in and make some more hairs. I'm going to try to kind of go over the ones that are already lighter. I'm on the wrong end here for you. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to brush back over most of my white with a very light stroke, and I'm going to let some of the hairs go over into the brown area that we painted for the shadow under the mustache. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to come in, and I do like to put some out onto the hat, kind of make them really fluffy. You're going to want to keep coming in and adding more and more as it dries. Let that mustache get really big there. Okay. I had some sky showing and I wanted to cover it. Okay, so we're going to turn it around now. We're going to do the same thing. I'm going to zoom back out because I'm having trouble keeping this under there for you. Alright, so we're going to work on this one now. We're going to do the same thing. Hopefully you can see a big difference between the two. And I'm just going to come in. I'm going to add just a tiny bit of brown to my white. Let some go out onto the hat if you'd like, and some out over the shadow that we put in. Alright. Okay, that's cute. I want to do a little more work on it though. And I'll probably come in again, who knows. Before we finish, I'll probably come in and add a few more hairs. Okay. Looking good. Gonna let these flowers dry a little bit more and we can work on the grass. And I see an area right here that I want to touch up a bit. Okay. Okay. So we're going to work on the grass, but I just decided I want to do a little bit of work here on the plant pot. Okay, so let's, in keeping with what's happening up here, let's make the plant pot a little bit lighter here and a little bit darker on the right. So I'm going to take that 1/2 inch flat and I'm going to go back to some orange with burnt umber. And I'm going to paint that down the right side of my plant pot, and I'm just going to let it sort of fade out into the middle. And I do want to get it much darker right here. I'm going to take the brush, go in it with the brush on the slender side of the stroke. Instead of a full width, I'm going to go in with it this way. Now right here I want it darker, but it's pretty wet, so I might have to come back to it later. There's a lot. Acrylic paints, when they're trying to stick to the canvas, sometimes there's a point where you have to just leave it and come back to it. Or you almost create like a spot. It's like a bald spot that won't accept the paint. So you kind of have to get off of it if that happens. I'm just going to brush blend that onto the plant pot. And on the other side, I want to do the same by adding a little bit of white. So I'm going to add a little bit of white to that mixture. And I'm going to start putting it over here. And I'm going to let that blend into the middle. It's almost like a dry brush at this point. Dry brush effect. Okay. While I have light color, I'm going to take a little bit of white on my brush, touch it on my towel, and I'm just going to add a little bit of highlight on his shoes. Okay. Grab a little white and put it in here also. Alright. Let it kind of dry brush in. Okay. Now we can do the grasses. So when I do grass, I like to put a lot of dark grass in, and then I add my light grass. So I'm going to leave this up like this. And I'm going to take my number 6 round, and I'm going to make a really dark color. I'm going to take just a tiny bit of green and a whole lot of brown. And I'm going to use my number 6. I'm going to hold it up nice and straight. You have to put quite a bit on your brush so that you can use a very light touch. Sometimes you have to add a little bit of water to the paint. And I'm going to go ahead and let some of those grasses come in front. I'm not sure yet how many I want to put in, but I'm going to do a little bit down there because he's down in the grass. And I'm going to put some over here. This is mostly burnt umber now at this point. You could add just a touch of black. So I'm going to do black and burnt umber and a touch of the green oxide. And let's see how we like that. We do have to have darks in there. I'm going to put some up in here. Okay. I'm going to rinse that brush out a little bit. Now I'm going to take mostly green oxide, and I'm going to put a few in there. Now when I do grass, I usually like to have some that are crooked and some that crisscross each other. Don't try to make it perfectly mowed and manicured, because this is not, he's out in the little meadow. Okay, we want it to look more natural. So I'm going to take some green oxide, just go back over, leaving some of the brown showing. get some in there in the back. Now, my favorite part when I'm doing this is when I start to add that lime green. So, lots of chrome yellow, a little bit of green oxide, and some white. And then I come back in with a really light touch. Now, I think I'm going to just do a few and kind of let it dry a little bit and come back in when the other grasses are a little bit drier. I think a little bit more green on this part would be good. Okay. So I like to just keep alternating with those colors. And then I come in with a lot more white at the end. Okay. So we have a lot more work to do down there, but let's go back up to these really cute flowers. So I want to create a variation in purples. So I'm going to try using this scruffy brush. You can also use like a worn out flat whose bristles have started to spread. And what I want to do is leave a lot of dark color in and then start coming in with some lighter color. So to start with, I am going to make my purple again by taking some phthalo blue and some red. And sometimes you need to add a little bit of white to see where the color is going. Okay. And I'm going to come in and I'm just going to dab straight up and down and try to start creating a little dimension. So I'm going to add just a little more red and a tad of white. I don't want to make it light yet. I want it to be still a little on the dark side. So I'm going to get a little bit of red in there and a little bit of blue. You could, of course, change this up. You could make it roses or, you know, whatever you like. So I'm going to come in and start adding just a little bit of white to that. And you notice how I'm leaving some of the darker colors showing? Okay, so we want to get our white, our lighter color in there, but we don't want to cover our dark. We need the dark plus the light to create our dimension. Okay. I really like the red a lot, so I'm going to get some more red in there. I'm going to take just a little bit of white on this dirty brush and tap it on my plate. I'm going to come back in with some white here and there and leaving the dark. I really like the darkness in this one a lot, so I'm going to leave a lot of the darkness in there. I'm going to go mostly around the edges and leave a lot of darker color. All right. So this flower is on top of this one. So I'm going to take a little bit more white and I'm just going to bring that flower down on top of the other one. And you decide which one is in front and you make that one a little bit brighter where it touches the other flower. Okay. Just kind of play with that. Very, very light touch. You have to have enough paint on your brush that you can tap very lightly. If you tap lightly, you can see through. If you tap hard, you're going to make a solid mass there, and it's not going to have a lot of dimension. So I'm going to dip into that violet a little bit too. So So I'm just going to play with those colors. I'm using a little violet, a little red, and I'm just going to come in and gently tap in some dimension. So much fun. Just let yourself enjoy it. This, to me, painting is my favorite thing, and I love sharing these with you. This is so much fun, brings me so much joy. I hope it does for you as well. So here we go. There's a little bit more light here and there. I'm going to let this one come down onto the plant pot. Alright, so we're going to get some leaves in there, and then we're going to go and add some petals in those flowers. So of course I'm going to use some lime green, but I'm going to use some just green oxide also first, and I'm going to create some leaves. I'm not sure what kind of flowers these really are. Hydrangea maybe. So, you know, it's whimsy, so it doesn't have to match what flowers look like in nature. Okay, it's your little creation. Okay, so let's get some yellow in here. Love my yellow. And a little bit of white. And let's come in and highlight these leaves. I'm going to go on the left. I'm going to highlight a little bit over here. Alright, and then I'm going to just hit all the leaves with a little bit, and we'll come back and add some yellow. Add a couple of mustache hairs in there. Little beard, I mean. And some mustache. Okay. Super cute, super cute. Okay. Let's take a look. Okay, so where he really needs more work is the grass, the flowers, and the mustache. But he's so cute. Love him. All right. I really need to pop those flowers a lot. So, let's see. I want to make more leaves, so I'm going to do super bright leaves now. Lots of yellow, little bit of green, white. And I'm going to come in and make some more leaves. Nice, bright leaves. Going to have to add a little bit more white to make them more opaque. Okay. I don't always put stems on my leaves. Sometimes I just put them out there and just let them be. But you can certainly add some stems if you'd like. Okay. Put some in here. Alright, let's work on the grass while we have these colors on our brush. We're going to take our super bright yellow, which is lots of yellow, white, and maybe a little green. We're going to come in and we're going to put some lighter, I need a little water on my brush. We're going to put some lighter blades of grass in here, so I'm just going to come up. You do need to have water on that brush so that this paint will just flow right off of your brush onto the canvas. And I'm going to add more white because I want it even brighter than that. Come in and I do want to leave the darker colors in the back though. Remember, you don't want to cover them. Alright. Let's get some lighter color in here. And this is where we get really nice dimension. Add some white up here. Alright, let's grab just some straight white and go in and put some highlights on some of these blades of grass, the lighter blades. I'm going to grab a little straight white. Just come in and add a little bit. It will help pop it. When it's on the wall, you need to have some brights in with your darks so you can see it from a distance. Okay, so we kind of buried his little shoes there, but you can put as little or as much grass as you want. I enjoy painting grass, so okay. Get a little bit of black. Touch that up right there. Okay. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. What I want to do is probably drop a few purple petals into the grass and maybe some of these leaves. So I'm going to grab some more of my green and yellow, and I'm just going to come in and put some of these leaves in the grass. So green, yellow, and then add some white. So it will kind of look like the flowers came from this area. Okay. Whoops, too much paint. Now I'm going to add a lot more white to my brush, and I'm going to put some more out here. Like there's more out in the background. Lots of white. Okay. Cute, cute. And there's no reason some couldn't be spilling out onto your plant pot. Alright. How cute he is. Alright, let's work on those flowers a little bit more. Now there's a lot of different ways you could approach it. You could keep using that scruffy brush, or you can add little petals. I'm going to add some little petals and see how I like that. So again, we'll be grabbing our blue and our red. And maybe just a little white so we can see what that color looks like. That is a rich purple. So I'm going to use some of that first, and I'm just going to come in and do some little petals. Okay, I'm going to wipe my brush. Now I'm going to add a little bit of white to that mix and a little bit more red. A little bit of white. And come in. More white. We need more white. And a bit more red. Okay. Then we need our white. So I'm adding white to a dirty brush, which is giving me a really pretty, need a little bit more red there, a little pretty lavender, but light. And I'm going to come in and add even more white. And I'm just going to just kind of dabbling a little bit. Okay, so what we really want to do is where one flower overlaps another, we want to make it super bright. So this one is on top. Let me move that. This one is on top of the other one, so I want to make it really bright where it goes on top of that one. This one, I just want to brighten up this side. This one, I want to brighten up where it goes over the rim of the plant pot. This one here, I want it brighter at the bottom. So lots of white. This one can stay darker. Let's make it a little brighter right there. And then I usually recommend kind of taking a step back and taking a look at it and just see where you want to make some changes. I want to put, it's a lot of red. I'm going to put some red and violet. I'm going to come back in with a little of that violet and red. Kind of brighten that up a little bit. I really like the red in with it. I'm going to go back to the fluffy brush now, and I'm going to add a little bit more white and the ever so slightest bit of purple. And pounce it on my plate, and I'm going to come in and just add a little bit of that more white, just a little bit. Okay, super cute. I'm going to take a look now and see where I want to make any changes or adjustments. I want to pop that mustache just a little bit more, personally. So I'm just going to clean my brush. And I'm going to go back in with some white. I need some fresh white on my plate. Grab some more white and let's just brighten up this mustache a little bit and really make it pop. So I'm going to go back over the existing white and just make it even brighter. So I'm going to try to stay on those bright hairs, maybe make some a little thicker. I like that a lot, and go closer to the nose. I'm going to put a couple of hairs just really out there. Okay, so I'm going to brighten this side. Okay, and then I just want a little bit more here where the beard comes out of the nose. Okay. And over here I did have a little bit of beard sticking out, so I'll brighten those hairs a little. I don't have any on that side, but you can certainly add that. And I'm really happy with him here, the way he is. But again, you go back over, add your details, whatever you like to make you happy. I love this little gnome. I think he's so super cute. Don't forget to sign the corner of your painting with your initials or your name. And I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and really had a good time with it. I wish I could see what you paint, but enjoy it. And I look forward to coming and doing another video with you. I really enjoy this. If you liked it and you want to hit the like button, that would be great. And you can also subscribe to my channel if you'd like, so that you can get updates on all my upcoming fun videos. Thank you so much for joining me. Have yourself a wonderful day.